Okay.
Lost it before.
There you go.
All right. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thank you for joining us today with MAPS-MCOC Black History Month celebrating awareness. And today we have Noni Irvin from the African American Writers Alliance. She is an author and creator of Kinara Park Kids. Today she joins us from the greater Seattle area of Washington. She and her husband, over 20 years, are the parents of 2 wonderful sons. She has more than 30 years of experience in business management and strategic development, and specializing in helping businesses and organizations. So we welcome you, Noni. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And we also have Adasha from MAPS CDI. Thank you, Adasha, for joining us today. We're happy to have you both with us.
Thank you for the invite. I'm super excited about our speaker tonight. She has an amazing series that our community would definitely benefit from. Something that I had to learn about for the first time this year was Kwanzaa. And so participating and growing with the community and really understanding what that is and diving into that, there's just a beautiful collection that I'd like Miss Noni to share with us.
Okay, great. Well, thank you for having me. This is the Kinara Park Kids, the full mini series. It's 8 books. The first book talks about the park itself and introduces the kids, and then each one of the kids has their own book so that you can go deeper with them. And for the Kinara Park Kids, each one of them is named after one of the principles of Kwanzaa. So I will go into our very first, or the book that we're going to read this evening for story time, and that is the Kinara Park Kids. Here we go. Kids by Noni Irvin. I've had the pleasure of living here in the very center of this beautiful park my whole life. There's a group of children who come here so often that I like to call them Kinara Park Kids. Shaped like Mother Africa, there are 5 play areas of the park that remind me of the 5 regions of the continent. They play Siga in the north and Butterfly in the south. In the east, they like shacks, and in the west, they call the game Dara, or Doki. Africa, everybody plays Mancala. It is great fun. I will tell you all about my friends. They play Siga in the north, Butterfly in the south, Shacks in the east, Dara, or Doki in the west, Mancala in Central Africa. When Umoja comes to the park, he is usually calm and collected. He gathers his friends and they look for something fun and exciting to play. Umoja seems to enjoy spending time with his friends. There is something magical about bringing them all together that excites him. KG, or Kujichagulia, always has a skip in her step. She is focused and determined in whatever game she plays. She knows how to have lots and lots of fun. Everyone needs a friend like KG. I enjoy the twins, Ujima and Ujamaa. Ujima was born first. He cares deeply for others and believes everyone's problem is his problem. He is always trying to find a way to help his brothers and sisters. Ujamaa was born second, and he is smart. He often wins the games he plays, especially when it involves sharing and working together. Ujamaa invents new games for them to play. When Nia comes to the park, it's like she has fire in her bones. You can tell that she has things to do, games to win, and friends to see. Nia is definitely the most active of the bunch. Kuumba is a delight. She is usually singing, making melodies, or dancing. Her favorite activity is using her imagination and playing with the colorful game pieces. She calls the park her beautiful place. Imani is like sunshine on any given day. She has such a warm, beautiful presence and is the best at looking out for her friends and making sure they have what they need, often before they know they need it. What a wonderful group of friends. After playing, they come over near me. I am the flame tree. I'm big, protective, and majestic with flaming red leaves. I remind them of their history and the ancestors they have never known. Kinara Park gets its name from the candle holder that is used in our Kwanzaa celebration. These kids are the best of friends, and there are 7 of them, just like the 7 principles of Kwanzaa. Kinara Park kids are intelligent and aware of their heritage. I look forward to every day when they come and spend time here in Kinara Park. We are Kinara Park kids. The end.
Awesome. Amazing. Thank you. Thank you. Wow, such a beautiful book. Of course, I've got some questions for you. One is like, who did the illustration on that book? It's so bright and vibrant. It just looks awesome.
Thank you. Well, I designed the children, the Kinara Park kids. Their design is intentional, from their skin tone to their hairstyle to the clothing color. And the other illustrations, like the tree, was selected because of the tree is actually nicknamed the flame tree. It grows in parts of, I believe, Western Africa and the Southern United States, where it's warm and humid, and reminds me of the your family tree. Why it's in the center of the park. It's the idea of it reminding them of their heritage is because when we look at our family tree and we look at our grandparents and our great grandparents, and if you've ever done the ancestry, you do your DNA sample, then it becomes this this reminder of family and longevity.
Nice. For our viewers who don't know, can you give us a quick explanation of Kinara Park and its inspiration? I know you mentioned Kwanzaa. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes, sure. Well, the Kinara Park kids came out of a basically a mother, me, in a department store looking for a t-shirt for my son. And when I couldn't find, I found this wonderful shirt and it had these silhouettes of children. And I thought, oh, this is a really cool shirt. I'll get it for him. And when I got closer, none of the kids looked like him. I could tell by their silhouettes. And I thought, and there were so many kids on that shirt. I thought, in this day and age, and this was a few years ago, how could it be that they don't have a variety of children represented? And at the same time, we were knee deep in Kwanzaa discussions and how to incorporate it more in our family celebration. And, you know, the short version is that the Kanara Park kids were born. I grabbed my color pencils and a sketch pad and started just brainstorming hey, you know, what if there were these silhouettes of kids or these kids that were each named after one of the principles of Kwanzaa? And what if they were all friends? And what if where it was shaped like the continent of Africa? And then it just kind of unfolded. So that is where Kanara Park Kids came from. And a need for representation and inclusion and cultural relevance for young people, especially my children. And now it's just been a fun journey. And and Kwanzaa itself, Kwanzaa, you know, was created by Dr. Maulana Karanga to bring African Americans together as a people and as a community. On the continent of Africa, Kwanzaa is a Swahili word, and on the continent of Africa, it means first fruits. It's a festival held after the harvest of the crops in the agricultural communities, and it's typically a time of thanksgiving for the bountiful harvest. Dr. Karenga added an extra A to make Kwanzaa the holiday, and the new holiday was kind of joined with ancient African past.
Mm.
The last piece of that is the Ngozi Saba, which means 7 principles. So the 7 principles of Kwanzaa are an inspiration for us to celebrate during the Kwanzaa celebration, and a guide for the African American community to live by all year long. And this is intended to be how we interact with each other, and not just the week between the 26th of December and the 1st of January.
I definitely would like to have the Kwanzaa spirit year round, because it was a beautiful thing to be able to experience that with the Village of Hope here in Seattle this year.
Wonderful.
Can you get a little bit into like the principles of, because I know that's the name of the Kwanzaa, the Kanara kids. They are all named after the principles. So what are those principles?
Well, the principles are, I have to say, the fun part about this is that now I know all the principles, my kids know all the principles, and all of, you know, the people we come in contact with start to make that distinction. So it's a little fun. So Umoja is unity. And we learn how to be in community, in harmony, and in agreement with one another. For my children, that doesn't mean that we agree on everything, but we figure out what is most important and we do it together, right? So the way that we show Umoja is in all gray, and that represents all of the colors. And he loves sports. He's all about teamwork and how to bring his friends together toward a common goal. Next is Kujichagulia, which means self-determination. And some people get tongue twisted, but Kujichagulia is easy, right?
I like KG. I was like, ah.
I know I did that for the babies because they might need help, but we should, you know, there are so many wonderful, beautiful names around the world or even in our classrooms. And so the idea is that they learn the Kanara Park kids as friends, like they would on a playground at recess, where they learn their friend's name and it's no big deal. And all of a sudden they've learned these Swahili words. And then when the Kwanzaa holiday comes around, it's no big deal. They already know them. So with Kujichagulia, self-determination, we learn to use our words and not let anyone speak for us, right? For children, that means that we allow them to speak up when something's important to them. and make sure that adults in their world, their parents, their teachers, or their friends know how they feel about events or about things, their confidence in their voice. Ujima is next, and that means collective work and responsibility. Oh, I should go back. Kujichagulia, or KG, she's in red, because red is a strong color. She is strong in knowing what she wants to say and how she wants to say it.
I'm sorry, can you repeat what Ujima was?
Ujima, yes, I'll go to Ujima in just one moment. I appreciate that. So Kujichagulia, she's in red because the red is a color for strength, and is one color for strength. And her, she's very clear on what she wants to say and how she wants to say it. Next, Ujima, that means collective work and responsibility. We may not understand each other, but we listen and understand. We have empathy with each other. For children, we practice putting ourselves in each other's shoes and for one another. I always tell them that they may be upset with one another, you know, big brother and little brother or siblings, but they always be looking out for one another. So he's always mindful of helping his friends. For Ujima, we used an aqua green, and that is speaks of checking on his friends and helping. And if they're upset about something, then he helps them find a solution. Did I get it?
Is that is there a mazal?
Those are the symbols of Kwanzaa, which is different. So those are the Nguzo Saba are the 7 principles. So if you remember the candles, and in preparation, I brought my Kanara off the mantle, right? So it should be this way. The Kanara is the candle holder, and the Ngoza Saba are the 7 principles represented by the 7 candles. So the other symbols of Kwanzaa are the Kukobe Cha Umoja, the unity cup. I'm gonna mess this one up, I think. The Black Liberation Flag, but it's the Bandera Ya Taifa. My mat is too big to bring out, so I brought a small one. This is the, let me put here, the mkeka. That goes down as the foundation. I'm introducing them out of order. The corn, which represents each of the children in the house, is the muhindi. And the bowl of basket of fruit is the mazao. That is for the harvest. And the, I am missing one thing, and that is the gifts, which are placed on the table as well. The gifts and the, so the confusion sometimes is that those are the symbols for Kwanzaa, the items, these are the symbols, the mat, the candle holder, the cup, the kanara, and the candles. The principles of Kwanzaa are umoja, so they're learning principles. Umoja, kujichagulia, ujima, ujamaa, kuumba, imani.
And
So
out of the 7, what's one of your favorite principles?
my favorite principle is Ujima. Ujima is collective work and responsibility, and make your brothers and sisters problems your problems and to solve them together. And when I think of Ujima, I think of being mindful of what's important to others. You have big topics like homelessness and housing and food and hunger and health and wellness. Those are issues, right? And then and then you also have those issues that affect your community, and they affect you personally, but when they affect your community and you are mindful of that, and that is Ujima, to make those concerns your concerns and to work with your community, your brothers and sisters, to solve them together. So that means that if there is something that is of concern to me, that it's not just for me alone, but it's for the community to help come up with a solution.
Well, that's definitely something that we should be celebrating and doing every day. So Kwanzaa is kind of like a reminder of that, or how do you incorporate that every day?
Well, I think for us, we do that with Kanara kids. That helps, you know, they are, you know, you wear the Umoja t-shirt, and people ask you about it. People ask the kids that wear it. I had a young lady, she had Kuumba on, and she was walking through her middle school. This is pre-COVID. And the teacher says, "Excuse me, young lady, you know, what are you wearing? Where did you get that?" And she commenced to tell him, "This is Kuumba. It means creativity. We are normalizing Kwanzaa in everyday life. We want to see positive images of ourselves." You know, they when they talk about Umoja, they say, "Oh, what is that?" Or when they see the symbol for Kujichagulia, they love that symbol. It speaks of strength. And then talk about what that means. You know, the symbols, the Adinkra symbols that are on their clothing would be like a Nike swoosh or an Adidas bars or Reebok. You're wearing a symbol where people say, "Oh, I know that. That's Umoja. That means unity. That means we're in this together and we're collectively working to make this thing better for all of us." They're thinking about it outside of the week of the Kwanzaa holiday. And that's the whole point of it, is to be mindful, to learn the principles, to be mindful of the principles, to live by the principles, and to do everything that you can Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, with principles in mind for you personally, and then collectively as a community.
Mm. And I understand that your father wrote a book on Kwanzaa. Is that correct?
He did. And my Baba, which means dad in Swahili, my Baba wrote a book about a little over 20 years ago, how to celebrate Kwanzaa year round. And I actually had contacted him, which is part of how Canara Park Kids kind of formed, was I just called him up and said, "Hey, Baba, let's do a rewrite. You know, I want to update the book. The information hasn't changed, but his story has changed." And he's at I think for all of our parents and our grandparents, capturing their stories is so important. So that's most on my mind in doing the rewrite. So for Celebrate Kwanzaa year round, all you do is the first day of Kwanzaa falls on for that holiday. So if Umoja falls on a Monday, then for the rest of the year, Monday is Umoja. And next day is Tuesday, and that is Kujichagulia. So for the rest of the year until you get back around to the Kwanzaa holiday. And I love this because I put this in my calendar. That means I'm intentionally thinking about the principles hundreds of times more than I did the year before or the year before that. I am having conversations with my sons about the principles, or with friends, or with people that come in contact with our product. And so that is another way to be mindful of how to incorporate the principles year round, is to put it in your calendar.
Nice. So is it a religious holiday? You're saying it's something that comes around annually on different days.
You know, that's a really great question, because some people think it is, but it's not. Kwanzaa is not a religious holiday. Kwanzaa is a cultural holiday. And it is from December 26th to January 1st. But the principles, as I said before, are a guide to live by all year round. I think sometimes Kwanzaa gets a little bit awkward because the words are in Swahili or Kiswahili, right, is how it's often said. And since we're not used to those words, they are awkward to us, and it's difficult to embrace them in that awkwardness. So that's the other reason why each of the Canara Park kids, they are named after one of the principles. I figured you can learn a friend's name, then you'll have no problem learning the principles.
And why is this so important to the Black community and other races that we should recognize and celebrate Kwanzaa every year?
Well, you know, there's a few reasons why I would say it's important. The principles notwithstanding, but I think as we have so much disconnect in historically, that I think it's a beautiful thing anytime we can find a point of connection. Anytime we can celebrate these principles with each other. I mean, cooperative economics, MA, is essentially the dollars circulating inside the community. In order to do that, you would have to own businesses, own property, own buildings, own banks, own retail and wholesale for that dollar to circulate. So that begets a bigger question, which is, how do we be in business together? How do we spend our dollars with each other? How do we take care of each other? So that to me is why it's the most important.
So important right now as we're learning about a lot of the social economical injustices, you know, that we've been experiencing this year, and also, you know, during COVID, you know, it's kind of heightened in addition to a lot of the movements that's been going on. And this is what, you know, for people who don't know, this is what kind of the movement is about, you know, is really supporting each other no matter what, to where we're able to have those liberties and those, you know, of life and food and, you know, justice and just being, without having to be always on the defense, you know. So when you're saying normalize Kwanzaa, normalize these principles, you know, bring them into your everyday life, definitely is things that we could benefit from. So your brand is only for kids? Because I'm learning a lot.
It is not. The funniest part, I think, is I pretty much imagined it just being kids as I was sketching out these characters. But I figured that with the Adinkra symbols, the adults will get the symbols without the faces of the kids on them, and then the kids will get the images of the kids. And then in my mind, I imagine the kids will get them based on who looks closest to them or who looks like their friend. And I was totally wrong. So what happens is the adults and the kids alike figure out which principle they like the most, which principle is them. They'll look at it and say, yeah, that's me. I want that. And adults get the hoodies and t-shirts with the kids on them. Boy or girl, man, or woman, or for anyone, whichever principle they align with or they feel best represents them or what statement they want to make. And to me, that is Chagalia at its finest, right? Speaking for yourself and, you know, saying what you need to say and what you want to say and how you want to say it. So I love, you know, seeing people come to that kind of determination in real time is pretty amazing. And it's consistently all ages. They do the same thing, you know, and the kids are so fun. They just want to know, okay, now what's his name and what's that? Okay, and what colors do those come in? And, you know, they're just full of intrigue and learning these principles, and it looks like fun to them. And that's what we want to do. We want them to internalize the principles. So we've got stuff for toddlers up to 5X. And and I have seen every size go out the door, and so we love it. Absolutely love it.
So that
We'll
was
outfit the
one.
whole family.
Yeah, no, nice. Do you have any pictures of the year, or is it kind of the same photos that are on the books?
I do have some. That's funny that you ask. I can grab a couple of them while I have you here, or I can send them off to you. You can put them. Okay. Quick freestyle. Let me see where I put those images.
Well, I knew you had the books. I didn't know you had gear. So I know that when we were in a pandemic looking for something to wear for Kwanzaa, you know, as you're doing all your Zooms, it was very difficult. So that was one of the things that was nice, you know, when everybody's coming, you know, dressed up in their Kwanzaa best.
Oh, yes. And I think even it was kind of fun. And we walked into the Kwanzaa celebration and I said, oh my gosh, somebody's wearing, they have emoji on. How cool is that? They, you know, because it was a teenager and it was absolutely cool to see that. One, because they had, even though it doesn't have African print on it, it's still Kwanzaa. And I think the more that we can say that and the more fun we can have in saying that, the better. And still honor the holiday. You know, we don't want to take away from the holiday. We just want to enhance it.
Yes.
Or a couple of things here I can show you.
Then we have 2 questions in the chat.
Okay. I'll try to grab a few of these and while you're doing that.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So just speaking of the food, are there any special foods that are prepared for Kwanzaa?
Thank
you, Yasmin.
There's a feast that is had on the last day. And it's typically and I'm not the expert on that. I would literally grab the part of that book out of my Baba's book and read that because honestly, I did not grow up celebrating Kwanzaa. So I grew up celebrating Kwanzaa till I was about 6. And then families sometimes do as they do. And then it was years before I circled back around to Kwanzaa and was able to have that conversation about, you know, get back to it. And I would say the actual holiday celebration is not the main focus of what we do. The main focus of what we're doing is we replace some of the images that are shown in the news of us, of our young people, how we develop community through positive imaging, how to celebrate the principles of Kwanzaa year round, how do we normalize it so that it's kind of a go-to of, but as a community, and then, you know, any profit that comes out of that for us as a business, we put back into the community.
Mm-hmm.
I want young people to say, hey, I have an idea. Great, what is it? I'd love to fund it. I'd love to coach you. I'd love to put resources around you. I'd love to ensure your success.
Ah.
I've got this idea. Great. This is what you're going to need to be successful at that. These are the resources. This is the path for you. This is how we would set that up. How can we ensure your success? This communities, other communities do, but African American communities, Black and African American communities that are not immigrant communities have not had any resources here. Typically, immigrant communities will grab resources from home, and we have that disconnect from in our history from home, and we don't have those resources available to us. So that's part of the conversation. So that is why Canara Park Kids is intentionally for profit. We do have a sister nonprofit where we have some great projects that we're working on. But the idea is to put that back into the community.
Okay, now it makes sense. Like I said, it was my first time. So when I saw a whole presentation of these kids, some had put together gift boxes, and just stuff like candy, popcorn, and a movie. And then he was selling gift boxes. And then the other had T-shirts. And the other had, tap dancing classes, anything that they were able to present to the community for a profit, and we all supported them. I thought it was me being the person I am. I'm like, great, youth entrepreneurship program, but it was more than that. Just seeing the community come together to really highlight them, make a commercial for them, really, they sold out of everything instantly, which is it's pride and ownership,
Yes.
Pride in your community. And it wasn't just gifting someone, you know what I mean? They really went out and put their heart into it. That's what I saw. It was beautiful. I'd never had anyone explain it to me, but like it just clicked right now when you said that. I was like, that's what was going on, Of course, showing up and supporting your youth, it's timeless. You know what I mean? It's not something that is, just easy money out of the window. So
Right.
that's definitely trying to figure out what principle would that fall under. It's just kind of collaborative.
That is Ujamaa, cooperative economics.
Okay.
Growing growing our businesses together, working together in business together, in building shops, and that's essentially Ujamaa. Now what those young people learned was to have their product, they had to do marketing, they had to have their inventory, they had to have a customer, and then they had that whole experience. Well, if every American child had that experience, it would transform them. It would transform the community, like on the foundational level, because now they're not thinking of going to work for someone. Necessary sometimes, but why not go to work for someone who owns a business in the community, a Black business owner who knows your grandma and your grandpa, who knows your sister and your cousin and your auntie, who has seen you grow up and seen you flourish into this lovely young person, and now they want to invest in you, or they have always wanted to invest in you. They're just waiting for an opportunity to part of your success. And that's about. I do have some images of some things, but only a few, because I wasn't expecting to show those. So I could show you a few if you're ready.
Yeah, I think it's the Zoom and quarantine fever where you just want to see stuff on the screen and buy, the click and buy. So this is instead of Amazon, we could definitely enjoy this.
Okay, so these are a couple of the one with all the kids. There's images with all the kids on there. The image right here at Shot Black featured us. Those are the Kwanzaa Adinkra symbols down the sleeves, which is kind of cool because I think they're better than Nike and Adidas by far. Some of the ones with the individual kid and their symbol. So this is Ujamaa at the bottom left, cooperative economics. The sleeves, it says the English Ujamaa, and on the other sleeve it says cooperative economics, so that there's learning involved as well. And then the one that this young man has here with just the white lettering, it says, let's celebrate Kwanzaa year round, and it has all of the Kwanzaa Adinkra symbols in order of the Kwanzaa holiday. These go out the door all the time. People love these. These are the joggers. They are in the gray with the black, the symbols down the side. And then I also have them in black and navy with the gray symbols down the side. I can't keep those. I have those in small to, I think, 3X. So these are perfect for Zoom school and regular school, and basically around the house or out in the community. They're pretty amazing.
Awesome. They're Pacific Northwest proof.
Yes. These are some ball caps with just the symbol on them. Moja, Kujichagulia, whatever you're feeling, you know, you want to say, or the statement you want to make. This is self-determination, Kujichagulia. This is a men's polo. So typically I like to run the stuff in unisex, so it's easier for everyone, but this is actually a men's polo by Champion. It's perfect for business casual, right? It's perfect for being around the house, golf course, walk around the community event, whatever you want to do, go into the office. And that's the Umoja symbol for unity.
Okay.
Yeah, and on this one, this is in black and navy and white, which is kind of nice. Here's one of our tees with just the symbol, the Adinkra symbol. And you see that it says Umoja and unity, so you are learning what that symbol means. Okay.
I have a question. I know you had mentioned earlier about the colors. You know, you went into the names, the inspiration, and the colors. So do the colors represent anything? It seems like this is such a deep concept where everything is intentional. So, and I hear you mentioning the colors here as well. So, is there any connection to that? The red, black, and green.
Oh, well, not here. Of course, I'm down with you wearing your red, black, and green. But this is just me real quick grabbing a couple of images out of the file to show you. But this is available in all colors, not all colors, in probably 10 different colors. Because you have your own likes, you know. This is the gray, so it's going to be any color where the gray is going to be visible, but I also have it with the black lettering, and I like to wear the black on black because I kind of feel like a superhero, you know. I feel like a superhero because I'm wearing something that is important and meaningful to me, but I might need to go into the office and put, you know, my blazer over it, but it's visible enough to where you can see the reflection, but it's not too bright to where you know, it's outside of the dress code. Whatever you need it to be.
Nice.
So yeah, so those are in all the colors, or lots of different colors. And we like to do all of our stuff I like to do all of the t-shirts in as many colors as I can make available, because, you know, we're looking at doing some projects with a couple of elementary schools. You know, they have 300 kids. They want either their school colors, and so we have where they could get close enough to their school colors, or even their own individual personality. And so, yeah,
That's
just
nice.
they're just out of my my social media deck for the week. So I was kind of in this contrast zone for the week. So yeah.
I really do like that self-reflection component of, Kwanzaa. Just think about your kids waking up every day, taking that moment to meditate and finding themselves in that space, then going to their closet and finding a shirt, that represents, what they're trying to achieve or, how they're feeling that day. I definitely like that whole vibe. Awesome. And congratulations. Looks very high quality. Wish we were in school. You said Zoom school.
I would say to the quality, I am really pleased with it. Of course, I product test with my, well, at the time, elementary school, and he's now middle school. And then also my high schooler, they product test everything, and it has withstood them. And yeah, really, really glad about that, because as a parent with a budget, I want to make sure that stuff lasts. But then when I go to replace it, I actually want to replace it with this stuff.
Nice. So I think someone had asked about the flag. Like it's not,
Okay.
yes. Yes, can you give us a little bit more detail and the what is this flag just representing?
Okay, well, this is the Taifa. Let me say it exactly. It's the Black Liberation flag. And for the Kwanzaa holiday, the Bandera ya Taifa. Okay, so the red represents the blood of African Americans and the sacrifices that they've made. Black represents the skin of Africans around the world.
Okay.
And let me see if I can even give you a little bit. Racial pride. It was Marcus Garvey's who well, in Swahili, the flag is called the Bandera ya Taifa. It was made popular by Marcus Garvey's Universal Negro Improvement Association. So
Yes.
right? And so sometimes people only have a part of the story. They don't have the whole story. And so they make things, it really is a beautiful thing, this flag.
Yes.
And so red, as I said, is for the blood of Americans have shed in their struggles toward freedom. Black is for the brotherhood of all Black people in unity. And then green is for the land. For the land that Black people once owned in Africa, and future land as a result of the struggle in a new nation.
So it's kind of like a flag of the people who came and lost their ancestry, or the diaspora for the kids who don't know. That's representing, some ownership in, even if it's in a flag, having pride in knowing that, we came from that diaspora and there was a group of many men, who tried to liberate and uplift, Black folks within their communities.
Well, yeah, the red, black, green is the same reason why the candles are the color that they are. The Kwanzaa holiday. So that's what the red represents, is the blood. Black is for the brotherhood and unity, and green is for the land.
Thank you. Good question. So we are at 7:50. We could open it up to 10 minutes. We are being joined by middle school group, I believe. So do you all have any questions?
No.
Medina Academy.
I personally don't have a question. I don't know about my peers.
Thank you.
So
I know
Adash, I have a question for you. You
yes.
said this year was your first year celebrating Kwanzaa. I had the privilege of celebrating Kwanzaa virtually with groups from the East Coast and the West Coast, and in Seattle and in Canada. And it was amazing because there were people from, you know, the United Kingdom on there, and from Amsterdam, and from, you know, just all around the world. And I thought it was lovely, and in every virtual celebration, it felt the same. It felt like home. How was your first Kwanzaa?
It was nice seeing so many melanin faces on the screen. You know, I am from Orange County, California, not too far from Long Beach, where the doctor came up with the Kwanzaa. So I remember hearing about it when it first came out and just kind of not really fully understanding what it was. My family being very separated from our roots was just like, okay, we're gonna roll with it. We've never and I've heard it come up not until I start seeing it, you know, at Party City. I was like, whoa, you know, Kwanzaa's come a very long way. And then doing some work in the doing some work in gardening and hydroponic farming and getting out there and reconnecting our youth with returning to our roots, you know what I mean, and getting into the soil and growing things. And so it seemed even in Islam that there's a lot of principles that were the same, that as I was reaching out to the Marcus Garvey School out in Seattle, Black Star Line, they do a lot of diaspora reconnecting and village training, you know, or village schooling, you know, with the parents there. So they were like, are you sure? And I said, it's a lot of the same principles we have. And so they invited us to do the mazal. And so my daughter, it was trying to learn all of this in like 2 days. You know, it was like, okay, what's going on, all the different levels. And so we were so nervous. My daughter, she's 6 years old. She knocked it out of the park. And because we are kind of drawn to our place of worship, you know, for everything, we are so, you know, in tune to community and being around each other. And during this pandemic, it's one of the things I can say that everybody is really like missing, is that, you know, community connection. And so we haven't really had a Zoom like that. So to see all those faces and all those brown faces, and everybody has their menorah everywhere, the Kanara, everyone has like the red, black, and green, and they're all dressed up. I wanted to cry, you know, just listening to the different experiences and seeing the youth put on, you know, their business show, to see, you know, every aspect of it, like in production. I don't know if it would have been the same. And that's what everyone's like, oh, I just miss when we were together. And I was like, I can't wait till next month to really, you know, feel this in person. But even my like I said, my 6-year-old, she's like, oh, that was great. That was great. These are all my cousins. That's what she said. They're all her cousins. And she wants to do like the Mazal song forever. And I didn't, yeah, it was nice. It was really nice. I think the one thing that I do wish would have happened is that I wish I was able to share it, you know, with more people, because I think because it's different. People don't really cross over, you know, out of their intersections into other lanes to see, you know, what is this about? You know, everybody stays in their comfort zone and their bubble, including myself. And I'm talking to myself before, you know, I'm talking, you know, to anyone else, is that I didn't know. And until I was invited by someone, I was like, you know what, I trust you. You're not going to have me doing anything crazy, you know, but to see that. And then on their side, it's like, you know, this is for African eyes only. And it's like, you know, we kind of are all right. We can't talk about brotherhood and sisterhood, you know what I mean? And then, you know, unity, but then have kind of that, you know, disconnect. I get that it's for, you know, people of the diaspora, but I think that unity and that sense of community is something that's longed for and needed, across, there's no boundaries to it. So I that was my only thing. My parents actually joined me. And so I haven't seen them in years. And so the fact that they joined us on this virtual Kwanzaa, and they were like, okay. And they were like, we were just listening to everything. Like, what are we getting into? But afterwards, they were like, I like that. We should have been doing this for a while. And it's like, so it was nice. I think my sister joined in. So it was, for me, it was just like seeing us all trying something new and really benefiting from it. And we saw the principle displayed, you know what I mean? So this is nice having someone explain actually what I was seeing. That's why I was able to make those connections. Like, oh, that's what they were doing. That was beautiful. And even now they have Instagram accounts. They have, social media pages where they started their business, literally, for a Kwanzaa, kickoff. So I thought it's everything we need. And when people hear Black liberation, it's not a bad thing. It's not like, it's not a cult, or it's not, a religion. It's not, because that was the first thing that came to mind. It's like, is this going to interfere with anything that I know, or anything that I practice and believe in? And it's like, it's symbiosis to what, it made it more complete. You know what I mean? To where it's like, I need to take that ancestry.com, DNA test and not be, even though, yes, there's data mining out there, it's going to happen, but really being able to identify with where I come from is more important, than that. So that the outcome would definitely be greater than anyone's intent. So it did make me want to dig a lot deeper, into these. I didn't know that you stuck with the principle for the whole year. I learned that tonight. But that's something else that I thought was interesting, is that because it's so deep and because it's so much, it's not something that you just look at and do one time and that's it. I think with a lot of holidays, it's performative. You know what I mean? It's very commercialized. You go, you get a gift, you get a thing, you send a gift card now. You don't even get gifts anymore, especially with the youth. And then after that, it's what's the next holiday so I can get my money, or I can get my gift. Where this was like, when's the next Kwanzaa so I can really be with my community and see what's going on and connect. It was a completely different vibe from anything that I've that I've ever experienced, as far as like on a communal level. Very I don't want to say similar to Ramadan, but that community connection was there, and everybody was involved. There wasn't like separation, like everybody was sitting at the table. We honored and acknowledged our elders in the room. We gave them space.
Yes.
I thought it was beautiful that the kids, when they were speaking, they would ask their elders for permission to speak, you know what I mean? Or, really highlight, who, what was it? They went and they would ask the elders questions about their first Kwanzaa. So there was that intergenerational connection intentionally made from the youngest person in the room to the oldest person in the room, from the furthest distance to where they were at to the closest. They made sure that they had polar opposites connecting in conversation, and everybody was just like sitting at the feet and listening. So I got to hear stories from, Maxine Mims, you know what I mean, who's in our community. And it was just like, she reminded me of my grandmother, it was just, it was a lot of connection for me. So I loved it. Yeah, I loved it. I loved being able to experience it with the group I was with, being here in Seattle, having my family online, you know what I mean, and open to that invitation. It was really nice. And I look forward to reading all of your books now.
I'm really glad that you had a wonderful experience. And I would say, yes, virtually, the beauty of it being virtually is, I think, more people were involved than maybe would have been or had awareness of it. But the being in person is actually such a wonderful blessing. And yes, we just want to keep the conversation going.
And how do you think we could do that?
Well, for me, I would say that's why Kanara Park Kids exists, is to keep that conversation going. So if you're gonna school shop for your kids, school shop with us. If you're gonna, right? If you're going to get a gift or looking for a little reader set, then get it with us and start having that conversation. And that's, you know, that's what it's about. We're looking at any opportunity to get those positive images of the kids and talk about the principles of Kwanzaa as often as we can.
Thank you. I love this conversation. Thank you for coming, and thank you for being our guest and letting me pry. And I'll turn it back over to Amani.
Thank you.
Thank you, Noni. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for the African American Writers Alliance. I wanna leave with the question and ask you. So, out of your 8 books, and can you, from out of those 8 books, is there a quote or a quote from out of the 8 characters, or advice from out of those 8 characters that you can share with us?
Yes. I didn't mention this before, but it was important that the Canara Park kids, you know, they're at the park playing, but they're playing intellectual games, right? These are intellectual games. They are fun games, but they're all about intellect. And so the quote I would say is near the last page. Canara Park kids are intelligent and aware of their heritage. I look forward to every day when they come and spend time here in Canara Park.
Thank you so much, Noni. And
Thank you.
I want to leave, thank you. I want to leave, also let our viewers know that you are offering MAPS a 50% discount from your mini series. I posted it on our Facebook page on the comments, and I'll post it on the post. And thank you so much for educating us about Kwanzaa. You know, and it's amazing. There's two out of the 8 principles that we use in Arabic, which means niyya, which means the intentions, and my name, Amani or Amani, either way, it means wishes. So the words are Swahili and Arabic are close in a way. So that's amazing to know. And, you know, thank you so much, Noni. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Noni. Thank you, Adasha. I appreciate you guys. And thank you, Medina Academy and Sister Hafsa Satar. We are excited that you guys joined us today, and all of our MCOC viewers and MAPS community and the Puget Sound. Thank you so much. Salam alaikum. Salam.